Hello, Jane Gill here, and in today's video I'm going to show you how to do stamp embossing with tissue. You can either use facial tissues, kitchen roll or toilet paper. Today I'm going to show you how to use toilet paper. I'm going to use this stamp from my September 2020 release on the woodware label, and the code for that is JGS 742 Autumn Pods, and as you can see it's a nice big bold image. It's A6 in size and will fill a card beautifully. I've chosen this bold image as you get better results with this technique than you do with a stamp that has a lot of fine detail. So what you'll need is a big brush. Now you've got a choice of using a big stencil brush like this, or you can use something a little bit smaller that has a flat head. That's okay, but it's up to you to choose which one you feel most comfortable with. You need to spritz a bottle full of water. You need your stamp on an acrylic block, and you need your pieces of toilet tissue. And I have got about 5 or 6 pieces here, and I've torn it up into the squares. And don't worry if your toilet tissue has an embossed image on there already. That will disappear once it's wet. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to spritz my clear stamp that's on the block to make it quite wet to give me a good start. I'm going to take a piece of toilet tissue, place it on the stamp, and as you can see it doesn't cover the stamp completely, but you don't really need the stems at the bottom. So you've got your first piece of tissue on, spritz it again to make it quite wet, do the sides as well, and then do a pouncing motion with your brush. You must keep pouncing rather than rubbing, otherwise you'll tear the tissue paper. And as you do this, you can see the image appearing. So if I hold it up, you can see the image is appearing in the water. Right, we're just going to put another piece on top. Give that another spritz. You'll need quite a lot of water in here. What you can do, if you want to, you can put your brush into a big pot of water, and you could also use that, but make sure that you don't get everything too soaking wet. I'm going to put a little bit more water on the top there so that it evens everything out. So you can see I've got a lot of water on there now, so it's really, really wet. So put another layer on top, give it another spritz. The idea with the pouncing motion is that you can then push the tissue paper in all the crevices around the stamp. And we'll get another piece of tissue paper and we'll spritz that as well. You just need to experiment to see how many pieces you need. 5 or 6 should be fine. You might be able to get away with 4 depending on your tissue that you're using. I'm just going to give that another quick spritz to make sure I get all that image. And then I sometimes go over with my finger just to press it down, just to make sure I'm picking up all those lovely little lines and nooks and crannies, crevices. I'm not actually using glue with my water, I'm just purely going by the water holding all the tissue paper together. Just pick up some of the water that's gone around my craft mat, add that there. Now you can either leave it onto your block to dry overnight, or you can take it off. If you're a little bit impatient, you can always take it off, but it will take overnight to dry, so you have to be really patient. So I'll take this one off now so that you can see. So carefully peel back the sides. As you can see, the sides aren't stuck together, It's just the water that's holding it together. So I'll peel that off really, really carefully. And you can see, I hope, the image of the stamp in there. It's just beautiful. It's such a lovely technique. Right, that has to stay overnight, but thankfully I have one here that's really dry. So you can see it's quite easy to handle, but you've still got the rough edges around. Those can be cut off. But I'm going to add a little bit of colour. It's going to wipe away all this water. I'm going to add a little bit of colour to my image to try and make it pop out. And I'm using Distress Oxides. I'm using peeled paint, worn lipstick and scattered straw. And I've got my little smoothies to apply it with, and I don't want very much colour on them. I'm going to start with the lightest colour first and pick up a little bit of colour on my smoothie, and then you can put it onto the image anywhere you like. Just very gently smoothing it over the top. So you can see it starts to emphasise the embossed image on your tissue paper. Let's add a little bit more. So it's better to go with the lighter colour first than the darker one. So now we will go to, let's try the worn lipstick next. Put that onto the flower. Again, don't press very hard. What you're trying to do is just pricking up the colour on top of the surface. You can always go back and add more, but you can't take it away. And we'll now have the peeled paint, and we'll put that on as a finishing touch. They blend really well together on the tissue paper. And should you wish to go back and add any more colour, you can do. I have a little bit more of the worn lipstick here and there, I think, to such a pretty colour, bring it out. It will blend with the colours you have there already, but I think it creates a really nice image. So there you can really see now how that image has popped out with the added ink on top. Then I'm going to cut out the edge, and because it's hand cut, I'm going to just wiggle my scissors a little bit so that I have an uneven edge, because I don't mind that. But you can always put it into a guillotine. So there we go. Now, and you can, if you want to, go around the edge with the smoothie with a little bit of the ink to give it a nice border, finish it off. Again, the layers are still separate, but because you have embossed this so well, it doesn't come apart. Now when you finish that, that's ready to go onto your card. And I have a card already made here with a lovely embossed background. You can see the embossed image, you can see the beautiful embossed tissue paper and a little greeting in there. And for my background, I've actually used the Creative Expressions Sublime Swells embossing folder, and I've put a piece of coconut white card through that and then layered up my card on top, and used a bit of the Distress Oxide worn lipstick to put a little strip across on the back. So there's my finished card, and thank you very much for watching.